see it.
Yeah, I only wish he was there.
I'm glad that there's a spot for the stroller.
Just
That's
like,
like, it's
real
really
quick,
perfect.
any six gentlemen or female, just,
Not gonna be me.
no, it won't, it shouldn't be you. But I just wanna make sure you guys are thinking about it, so you know who, when I ask for callers to
Yeah.
come
Yeah, we would
forward.
for sure, I figured the Saturdays if they're all here. I just don't know if they're gonna be here.
John?
John and Wes.
Yeah, John for sure. I don't know about any of this.
Did you wanna be a caller? You can,
Sarah, do you wanna be a pallbearer or do you?
you can be. It's actually appropriate for grandchildren to have participate in that,
I think that was
but
theirs.
it's up to you.
You can.
In the middle, maybe, cause you
Well,
have.
and it's on a card.
Oh,
It's on a
yeah,
card.
we don't have to lift it, it was
Oh,
more
you're
if
just
you want
walking.
to do it.
Okay.
I don't wanna do it
We
without
don't
you,
have
but I'll do it.
Well,
Yeah.
there is two instances where there's a little bit of lifting. One will be you'll help us place the casket into the hearse, but it's only for a moment.
Yep.
And then when we take it out, it'll also be placed on the carriage, I believe, or the gentleman from the cemetery will assist. Okay?
How many?
One on six side, yeah.
Okay, so,
We'll be on one on either side in the middle.
yeah, okay.
So we have three, so we need three more.
Well, I think
John definitely will, and
Yeah,
then the
that's
boys.
the boys, that's Julian.
No, he doesn't want to, no, he shouldn't be.
No. Okay.
You'll let,
Yeah.
again, I don't need to know who they are, they just need to know to come forward.
Sounds good.
Oh, this is as natural a box as you can get.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Her head's here, just so you're
Right
aware.
there. Yeah. I smell the wood, but I'm a little too.
I don't judge.
Well, everybody else does, so why did you know?
But they're great, like they're mixed, like grammars and. That one. The star.
You know if John's gonna speak?
But
Does
I
he know he's gonna speak?
Oh, yeah, no, he talked to, so Mark sent like a few paragraphs, and then nobody's talking about the house. Maybe I can do that. What do you think? Because we are gonna have a meeting here, so maybe Sheila. So I don't know how many of them go in the Kasha and Charlotte, and I never got them right. But. I tried.
Yeah, you can just say.
I think it's gonna be.
There, hold on. Doesn't the clip have to be on the front?
It's on the other side.
Build it. So maybe it should go on the top and then over.
He did a good job.
He's so cute.
We had his cousin.
Wait, where are you sitting? You were sitting here. Oh, he's sitting there. Your mom's sitting there. We're leaving each. The end is open. Yes. Huh? Yeah. Just in case you get bored.
So I think I'm just gonna back up. I'm gonna say something.
So you got a nice big one.
Instead of here.
Okay.
Oh, you
Yeah,
lost
but
it,
my
yeah.
hair got done.
Well, I don't
Does she?
know.
Here.
Did you,
You're gonna have everyone.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah, you have everyone.
I cleaned it up. It was real long.
Even if you got the house, even if it works, we have their attention here.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
She sent me the whole thing.
Well, look
Sorry, I
at the
didn't
Sabbath
send
men.
Oh, no.
Here, we got some pallbearers.
No, I wanted to. We didn't
Boy, you look good.
at some points, but we were her granddaughters and.
If you're having it here,
We
we
just-
can have so much.
Being stuck.
Great radio. Oh my God, you know what I was thinking, and I was gonna say this. My mom didn't even get 3 months. Either make her. Hell, I absolutely myself personally. When you didn't have 3 months. So I'm telling Junior here, my mom didn't even have 3 months to be a major.
It's not cheating.
Come on, you know.
I know, we gotta.
I like the turkey, what in that, Junior was okay. Oh, correct. Everybody else.
after wedding together.
Oh, yeah.
Uncle Leo, Uncle Leo.
How was mine, right?
For what? There's, each of the chairs are empty on the end. So. The chairs empty, yeah.
This is his, I think, soup. And I bought her
Taking off work for a minute.
I need you to know what I'm calling.
It's perfect.
You know you can't lose me. Right. I want you to be happy. I want you to be happy no matter what. It's not personal. Like I want you to know but I love you.
Oh, how can I be serious? It's not like you have family in there.
This is definitely your Saturdays after pasta. Just forever. All right. All this ever is pure love. Like worry, like mom, tell me, but like other pure love and support. Whatever. Oh. Providing specialty places. Because the diamond.
He wants to pack up all the.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I dropped off the.
Oh, good. Okay, I saw it, we drove past. I saw it.
You saw it,
Yeah.
and the chocolates and whatever.
Got that, okay. I was gonna stop.
Set all that stuff up.
Over there.
You want the picture? You want the picture? 77. Okay, gotcha. Perfect. Yeah, we got it.
On the table. Okay, so.
Okay, we got it.
No, don't apologize.
And like doing it all together, it's gotta be right? Watch them continue strong.
I just read about
It's a choice.
You know, one job
Thank you.
No, that's fine.
She wasn't so sad for reason. Like the whole contract.
And you know, it's
Eviscerated, that's a good one.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
They're doing good. David's come to terms that maybe it was the 12-year-old self that said, I want to be an actor forever.
That's a learning curve, right?
It's funny that he thinks he couldn't just start his life in Chicago because he's always comfortable coming home for dinner or whatever. So he felt it was a cookie bowl. So he moved to LA for his friends in Oregon. So he's been living in just what? Work? Do something?
Yeah, maybe put on time, put on
Doing fintech? Josh has always seen David was to see this and I think we limited him because I didn't tell him you need this 40-hour job, you need 40 hours. We didn't push it. I showed him you get paid on the edge. So he's got that figured out.
I want to color my hair.
So yeah, you and I always talk. You never go to college.
I'm better at college.
Like people think the rabbi's busy, and I try not to be that busy. We continue.
Oh my God.
I know. You would like to go down the railings almost forever.
Good times.
Let's stop by and see John.
Less hassle, more dignified. Private, but it's kind of less.
Yeah, I think it was like last year. I think you can.
We de-dog here, Tom. Turn around. You better go for it. That says a lot.
Thank you. Didn't work. Not too bad. She wanted
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, last time.
Oh, it's okay.
We actually took a last you were here. Yeah, exactly. So everybody had to say yes, 100%. She had to do it the way she wanted to do it.
Yes.
May not be the way you wanted her to do it, but it was the way she wanted to do it. Right, exactly.
And I made it back and we had like a few years where
Right,
she was
exactly.
so, yeah.
And to some degree, and she wanted it. I mean, she was waiting for you to come back.
Even like with like it wasn't even the same day. She was fully equivalent. You know, it could have been the same day, but it wasn't. So
Why was she turned down the operation? She said not to,
yeah.
even though she wasn't really given the option.
And oh, for the appendix, yeah. She was. I think, from my understanding, well, it wasn't the operation that was the problem. It was like the into like
The anesthetic?
the anesthetics. I mean, and also she didn't. She like really like. I think her mind was like the most important thing, and she didn't want to risk like losing it. So she was like, because I think with like her sister, she saw her then, and she's like, I don't know. So I think that was kind of her. But
she always went, go to the operation, you're still always, the older you are,
yeah,
you're still
I mean,
more
you wasn't really good credit. If it's not like you're gonna be extending it like 15 more years. I mean, maybe. Oh, are we blocking the whole video?
No, I just want to make sure we don't try.
Oh, sorry.
Sarah. Hi.
So you're back, huh?
I'm back.
Sarah, how are you doing? I know.
Yeah, how's the job going? Fiance is from Louisville. Yeah. Well, that's a problem. Because I always say one conference at once. So not every just jet Yeah. But you get to meet people, and in person, I think does help.
These we could do.
Yeah. Yeah, she really was.
I mean, I know that she I actually really wanted, when I met Barbara, I wanted to see if there's like a photo in the pharmacy building.
Oh, of my dad. He graduated. I don't know. Do they hang photos up her back?
I don't know, but I think that's where the front door.
Yeah.
I'd like to find that out. If I find something.
Yeah, I think he graduated in 55.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I know. Oh, she was so lucky to have you. That's very sweet. Thank you. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. No, but no. Oh, no, you're so sweet. It was nice to meet you. Yeah. Oh, that's very kind. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I know. I mean, the biggest one.
You guys are really
Yeah, on Sunday. I'm sorry. Yes. Yes. Sunday at our house.
I'm gonna stick it up. It was terrible, that's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
He told me to go.
Thank you for coming. I didn't know. I didn't know your face. You just talked it. I live in yeah, well,
Dylan's coming in Labor Day weekend, so.
I'm sorry, guys.
no, seriously. Thank you so much. Yes, Thank you for I didn't wear masks.
And you're ready. You're ready. Yeah, you're ready.
If I may have everyone's attention, please. We're about to begin our service. I will ask that everyone please be seated. We will begin our service with the rendering of Kriya.
I'm Rabbi Michael Summer, our cantor Jane Heyman from Har Shalom, Shirley's longtime community, also having been with her at B'nai Torah. We're honored to have you all here with us today. The act of Kriya is as old as biblical times, the act of tearing. In the old days, they would tear their clothing and pour ash upon their head at the death of a loved one. Today, mourners wear a black ribbon, torn to show the tear in their life. a symbol upon their lapel, that friends and family, upon seeing it, know to approach with more love and sympathy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Dayan ha'emet. We praise God and our God, ruler of the universe, judge of truth. The psalmist in those words wrote long ago, I lift my eyes to the mountains, what is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul, your going and coming now and forever. Our writings teach us that a woman of strength, beauty, and kindness, who can find? She is more precious than fine gems. Her family loves and depends on her, and so they lack nothing. She does good by them, never harm, all the days of her life. She perceives that her labor is rewarding. Her candle burns on into the night. She reaches out to those in need and extends her hands to everyone. She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she faces the future cheerfully. She speaks with wisdom. The law of kindness is on her lips. Her children rise up and bless her. Her family entire sing her praises. Many daughters have done valiantly, but you excel them all. Shirley Miller lived an incredible life in her 99 years, 4 months, and 8 days. She was kind and dedicated to her family and friends her entire life. The majority of us never thought this day would come, and really hoped it wouldn't, because Shirley was sharp to the end and such an incredible piece of all of our lives. This moment comes for all of us. We must grieve our loss while remembering all that was good of our loved one. Shirley leaves us a legacy to celebrate while we grieve her absence. Daughter of Max and Leah, both of blessed memory. Cherished wife of Jerry, of blessed memory for over 70 years. Beloved mother of Michael, of blessed memory, and his wife Lisa. Jeff and Michaela. Grandmother of Rebecca and her husband Nico and Sarah. Loving sister of Sherry, her best friend of blessed memory, and her husband Art, both of blessed memory. Rosa and Harold, both of blessed memory, and Norton of blessed memory. Incredible cousin, aunt, great aunt, friend to so many. An inspiring teacher that people remember to this day. May we remember Shirley for her beauty, intelligence, devotion, and kindness, and may her memory always be a blessing. A poet wrote, "If you are reading this, then I must be gone. Remember me true, my good days and bad, although I hope our memories hold more smiles than pain. Remember our days filled with laughter so that your tears of grief may hold some sweetness and less sorrow. I never claimed perfection, although I'm still convinced I was right most of the time. But please forgive me those moments when I couldn't admit that I was wrong. Life is built day upon day, where memories accumulate like fallen leaves in autumn. We keep only the most special and colorful ones, while the rest are swept away and forgotten. I'm so blessed for all my days you filled with so much color. If this is being read, and I'm off elsewhere never to return, remember my love for you more than anything else, because in the end, that is the best gift that I can leave you. The Byrds made popular these ancient words of Ecclesiastes when they sang that there was a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. And now is the time we speak of Shirley's incredible life, as I call up her son Jeffrey to talk about his mother.
First of all, I want you to note the sign. And I got this sign. I'll read it for those in the back. It says, "You are never too old to need your mother." And I got this from my mother from Menards, just a local home improvement store. And I gave it to them, gave it to her probably 15, 20 years ago, and it was on her dining room. So a couple of days ago, I had it in my mind. I want you to note those flowers. They are, fill up this casket. They are the most beautiful arrangement I've ever seen. And when I heard the price of them, I said, I'm sure we could get something at the Jewel. And Mom would never approve of what we paid for. But they are absolutely beautiful. And I told Bill Goodman, who works with us from Neartown Funerals, to tell the staff, they are absolutely perfect. We couldn't have done much less on the casket. So this is a typical, I guess, Jewish casket, and that's just fine. Okay, but look at that. All right, now, I wrote this thing and I thought about it a lot. And unlike others, I plan to stick to this teleprompter / script. Mom was born when Silent Cal Coolidge was president. She passed away during the second term of the blustery Donald J. Trump. Her life spanned 17 presidential administrations and close to 100 years. Think of that, 17 presidential administrations. Speaking of US presidents, she could recite all of them, both forward and backward, and did that often, and I mean recently. There's so much I would love to say about her, but I'm going to be uncharacteristically brief. If I fail, please understand. During the last year of her life, Mom lived with us. Mahala, my wife, Sarah when she was around, not often, and our kitty that was around all the time. She was concerned that I couldn't watch TV anymore in the den. That's where we set up her room. That didn't stop me, and we enjoyed each other's company. Yes, the volume was way over 65, but Mahala didn't outwardly complain from upstairs. Mom thought that she would be a burden, but actually she remained quite independent in our home. I pledged to myself that I wouldn't place either parent anywhere they didn't want to be. We really had no choice the last 5 weeks of her life. Look at any picture of Mom during the teaching days at Wayne Thomas School, and you see a person who epitomizes the saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. She didn't work a day in 28 years. At the end of her career, Mom had so many unused sick days that she earned another year of pensionable service. I had so much admiration for Mom's teaching career
that I'm going to come back in another life as a 3rd or 4th grade teacher. Just last week, I talked to a young man whose mother was in Mrs. Miller's kindergarten class. That mother is now principal of South Park School in Deerfield. This young man called his mother, and she remembered Mrs. Miller, and she said something to the effect that Mrs. Miller always played piano for us. I was so fortunate as an adult to have great travel partners with both of my parents. Trips with Mom weren't on a bicycle, however. We went to Europe in 1983 and went back the next year. Many miles were covered in a rental car, and I have memories that will last a lifetime. The trips weren't particularly structured, and that led to many nice surprises along the way. I wanted to go into Germany, and Mom agreed if I would take her to a concentration camp. During our stay in Munich, we discussed how the man that checked us in was about Mom's age. She was in probably about 57, 58 at the time. She wondered what his part was in the war. Not far from Munich was the first concentration camp, Dachau. We visited, and when I had asked directions at a gas station, the response was, "What camp?" We went on a TWA getaway trip to London and surrounding areas. We saw 3 plays in the West End and brought the new year in by walking to Trafalgar Square. How she wasn't crushed, I could probably survive. At Trafalgar Square on New Year's, it was rather amazing. On another trip, the new year came in Vienna. In June 1985, I was going to go on a trip to Australia and New Zealand with a then girlfriend. She couldn't make it at the last minute, and my mom then asked if she could go. Arrangements were made in haste, and we were gone for about 21 days, including a couple of days in Tahiti and a few hours at Disneyland upon return to the U.S. In 1990, we got to Hungary, Czechoslovakia, that's what it was then, and the former East Germany. She was a great travel companion, and I had a pretty good sense of direction then. I intentionally spoke about our travels because they were joyful, and I'd be less apt to tear up. Mom kept my dad alive for the last 7 months of his life when he never came downstairs. I never saw her show so much love and devotion, so much love and devotion to my father as then. She was giving him a sip of protein shake just prior to his last breath. The fact that Mom, do I have anything in my nose? Not even tears. Or I gotta think. The fact that Mom was so clear-headed up till her most recent hospitalizations was a gift to all. She couldn't wait to show me the latest Wordle answer or work on the latest jumble together, which we did. The brain exercises she constantly did certainly proved their worth. I'm so fortunate to have had my mother and father as long as I did. I was truly blessed. Mom didn't have a caregiver in me the last year of her life. I'm her son, retired, and I believe that is what family is supposed to do. It was not work to me because I loved what I did for her each and every day. In the hospital, when I was talking and shouldn't have been, she would say, "Shut up, Jeffrey." And she said it more than once or twice. She exercised her sense of humor often during those last 5 weeks, and my family could attest to that. I was rather amazed. Maybe it was medication, who knows, but it was funny. Being married for 71 and a half years gave her ample opportunity to laugh things off. Today is Friday, Mom. I really wish that you could make your great meatloaf, and I loved it, and on rotten potatoes. Last Sunday, I lost one of my two best friends. Thankfully, the other one still tolerates me. I love you, Mom. Now, my wife is going to say a few words, and then I'm going to read something from her niece. Her niece came to see my mom twice in the hospital, and I understood fully she didn't make it back here.
So, first of all, thank you all for coming. I just wanted to talk about the holidays. So I met Shirley rather late in her life. She was Jeffrey's age when I met her for the first time. She was 69, and I didn't know her, you know, and she was working on raising the kids, but she really loved to have family and friends around for the holidays, and she was so fond of making sure everybody's taken care of, making the noodle kugel, which I never made the same she did. 30 years later, I'm still trying. And the pasta with the kasha. And I just wanted to say thank you for taking me in. So, Jeff.
My wife did so much for my parents, literally over the past 30 years, and I couldn't have asked for a better.
We have family.
Well, she did so much for my family, and including doing her hair in Highland Park Hospital and doing her hair in the rehab home, and her picture in the obituary in the Tribune and in your pamphlet there. My wife didn't do that, but I think she could have. I think she could have. One funny thing about my mom, well, there's a lot of funny things, but my mom would say, "Do you need a haircut?" I said, "Why?" She says, "Because I want a haircut." I said, "If you get a haircut, then I'm going to get a haircut," because I would drive her anyhow. And the night before, because she was my mom, she would always hand me money for the haircut. Just like in the old days, maybe when before I went off to college. Well, probably stopped when I was 12 or 10 or something, maybe a little older. And I said, and I'd look at count out the cash, and I said, "There's nothing here for a tip." And she'd say, "That's on you." I said, I can. There are lots of stories. All right, so my first cousin, Nancy Joy Weissman, she would talk with my mom on a fairly regular basis. And she said to me one time, not too long ago, she said, I'd like to come in to visit Auntie. She always called my mom Auntie. And I said, okay. And then she maybe had some doubts. And she said, "What would you do?" And I made it very simple and straightforward. And I said, "Nancy, if something were to happen and you didn't come in, how would you feel?" And that's your answer. And not only did she come in for a few days, but I think was it last week? I think late last week, she came in again, and they were here on a Tuesday night, but she met my mom on Wednesday in the ICU. My mom didn't really recognize her immediately, but later in the day, Mom was more into it. And on Thursday, Mom was really into it. And I said to Nancy, "Nancy, whatever time you have with her in this lucid condition was worth the whole trip to come in." So anyhow, Nancy sent me something yesterday and asked me if I would read it, and I said, of course. So it's titled, "Today I say goodbye to my dearest Aunt Shirley with a heart full." Today I say goodbye to my dearest Aunt Shirley with a heart full of love and gratitude. Some of my happiest growing up childhood memories was the summers I spent with Shirley and my grandmother. I just want to say, there was 13 years between Nancy and my mother, the similar 13 years between Rebecca and her cousin Sarah. Those days were filled with suntans, laughter, and endless beach fun that I will cherish forever. One of my favorite memories is when she introduced me to olives when I was just 10 years old. She never introduced me to them, and that's just my dad loved them in a martini. It seems like such a small thing, but every time I enjoy olives, I think of her and smile. It's one of the many little gifts she gave me that has stayed with me throughout my life. She gave me love, laughter, and the feeling of always being special. Thank you, Auntie, for giving me a childhood filled with so many beautiful memories and a lifetime of reasons to smile. You will always hold a special place in my heart. I will miss you and love you always. Rest in peace, dear Aunt Shirley.
I call up Shirley's nephew, John Savage.
Hello, I'm Johnny Savage. I'm Mrs. Miller's nephew. That's how I was known throughout my childhood. I was the lucky kid at Wayne Thomas School. We had my dear sweet aunt by my side for every lesson, overseeing me every step of the way through grade school. Shirley was arguably the most respected educator in my school system. Every friend and acquaintance was upset if they didn't get her for a kindergarten teacher, for them and all their siblings. She had a knack for making every child feel special. She had a daily ritual in which I often accompanied her. She would stay in her room until 6 p.m. every evening, preparing for the following day. And I would sit there with her. And she taught me to read. She taught me all my lessons in grade school, and I'm forever grateful. I was excused from school to accompany Shirley's kindergarten class on every field trip they went to. I went to museums with them, I went on boat tours, went to zoos. It was great. I always referred to Shirley as my other mother. In addition to spending time with her in school every day, we took many trips together as well. Canada, Israel, Mexico, Washington, New York, that come to mind. Shirley instilled in me a love for learning, culture, a love for the city of Chicago that I hold to this day. Her heavy influence continued with my kids. Shirley never missed a birthday for me or any of my kids, or a special event in any of our lives. I'm told that some of the first words out of my mouth, some 60 years ago, were Auntie Lalu.
That's right, Lalu.
This name stuck with Auntie Shirley for life. She always referred to herself, and I always referred to her as Auntie Lalu. So when I walked into the hospital last week to see her, she was in and out of consciousness, and she was slipping, not really able to open her eyes. I said, "Hello, Auntie Lalu."
Oh.
She said, "Hello, John," with her eyes still shut. She said, "You have wonderful boys." I said, "You know what? That's because you taught me so well." I learned it all from her. In the past 2 months, I've suffered the loss of the two greatest supporters a guy has ever had. And the two of them were just wonderful. I'll live on for every decision I make, and I love them both. I gotta say some words for my brother. We gather here to honor and celebrate the life of Shirley Miller, my Auntie Shirley. She dedicated her life to her family and to teaching young children in the classroom. She was passionate about her job and dedicated to her profession as an educator. Her legacy in her professional life is strong and lasting. She worked hard always, and she treasured her time with the children that she taught. She came in early and she stayed late. Her lesson plan was a work in progress always, changing with the times and with the more experience she accrued. She taught our family by example. She was a woman of extraordinary humility, dignity, and courage. It is difficult to find enough descriptive language to adequately do her justice. You had to know her, and thankfully I did for more than 75 years. She taught quiet lessons through her interactions with others and through her love for her community and for her family. She never spoke a cross word, which is remarkable. On the rare occasion when she raised her voice to make a point, it was understood always. Her power was her presence and her abiding kindness. She worked hard to smile in the face of adversity, and she endured an unfortunate measure of adversity in her lifetime. She always made time for each of her family members. She listened with genuine interest, and she effortlessly cataloged the memories about her family members' lives. What we were up to, what our plans were for the future, our successes and our setbacks. She was non-judgmental, and her love was unconditional. She was whip smart, and she loved to learn. I once, after hearing her speak publicly, told her that I thought that she could have been a lawyer. I thought at the time that this was a compliment. Unlike many of her contemporaries, she always worked outside her home, and she contributed to her community. She's the last of her generation in our family. We will struggle to remain as cohesive as we have without Shirley and my mom and her sister Sherry, who passed earlier this year. It is incumbent upon us all, as the generations that remain, to continue the lessons of respect, dignity, and family unity that Auntie Shirley taught us. These strengths of character seem to be increasingly undervalued, certainly by our political leaders and by the emergent culture in our country and in our own communities. We all mourn Auntie Shirley's passing, and we will miss her dearly. We can honor her best by holding close the lessons that she taught us. She was certainly liberal-minded, and she believed strongly in human rights, civil rights, and social equality. She really did not care, however, what your political affiliations were, so long as you were a good person who respected others. My mom struggled to say I love you, but I knew that she did. Auntie Shirley said it to me often, and I knew that she meant it. Shirley sat with my mom every day earlier this year when my mom was fading. Although she had her own medical struggles, her loyalty and her devotion to her sister never faded. She didn't care about fancy clothes, lavish vacations, jewelry, or any other visible hallmarks of her monetary wealth. Her priorities were her family and her community. She was a minimalist, understated, and elegant. I was so fortunate to have her in my life.
I call up Shirley's granddaughter, Sarah, to speak.
Hello, I'm Sarah, although sometimes I will be called Rebecca. You'll be hearing from her next. Anyway, my grandma's love language was showing up, whether it was physically waiting for me after school almost every day from kindergarten through my freshman year of high school with a special treat in the car, or through one of her handwritten birthday cards that somehow carried her love all the way to France. She had a way of making the people in her life feel remembered. As a child, my grandparents' house was my second home. My grandma helped me with homework at the kitchen table. I woke up to the smell of her famous French toast after sleepovers, and she filled our days with trips to the library, the Art Institute, and the Botanic Gardens. Somehow, she made even the ordinary days feel like special adventures. Some of my favorite memories are the little traditions that we shared. sitting beside her while she sang the Unicorn and Puff the Magic Dragon on her wonderfully out-of-tune piano, or the annual granddaughter's outing to see the Nutcracker every winter with a box of dots hidden in her purse. And no matter what art piece I created as a little girl, my grandma proudly declared it was a masterpiece, and they're still hanging all over my grandparents' house to this day. As I got older, I realized this wasn't just how she loved me, it was how she loved everyone. Wherever we went, someone would stop and say, "Oh, Mrs. Miller, is that you?" Or more students and parents were always eager to share how much she meant to them. And if you ever shared your birthday with my grandma, chances are you started getting a handwritten birthday card every year too. That was just who she was. I'm so grateful that I got to grow up with a grandma who gave so much of herself to everyone around her and never expected anything in return. She gave me the world, and I'll carry her love with me always. Love you lots, Grandma.
I call up Shirley's granddaughter, Rebecca, to speak.
Growing up, there was one thing I knew for certain about going anywhere with my grandma. We were never getting home quickly. I remember going to Sunset and walking through the door, and within 3 minutes of being in the store, someone would inevitably stop her. It could be a former student or one of their parents, but every time they would be near breathless with excitement to catch her up on the last 5, 10, sometimes 30 or 40 years of their life. It never really surprised me that they remembered her, but it was amazing to me that she always remembered them. Without fail, she would ask about their siblings. Thank you. Their siblings, their spouses, or kids, remembering specific stories from their time in kindergarten decades earlier, or from the last time they stopped Mrs. Miller in the grocery store. She remembered who was starting a new job or who had a child going off to college. She had an extraordinary way of making every single person feel like they were someone worth remembering. Eventually, after 5 or 10 minutes of chattering and catching up, they would realize I was also standing there and quickly ask, "Oh, is this your granddaughter?" And with her affirmation, they would almost always turn to me and ask, "Do you know how amazing your grandma is?" And at the time, I mostly just wanted to finish shopping and get the hell out of the grocery store. It never really occurred to me as a kid that all those interruptions weren't really interruptions at all. It was actually being able to watch in real time the evidence of a life spent making people feel seen and cared for and valued. And the way that she showed up for her students was no different than the way that she showed up for our family. Every time I visited or called, she didn't just ask how I was doing. She would ask about my coworkers and childhood friends, my parents, Nico, and especially our cat, Egret. She never quite got the name pronunciation right, but she would ask about her every single time we spoke, and every single time she'd be worried Egret wasn't eating enough. Looking back, I should have expected that. Grandma worried that no one, and apparently no cat, was ever getting enough to eat. But that was Grandma. Even though her cooking skills were selective, it was hard to turn down another piece of her kugel or another spoonful of her kasha and shells. She was also stubborn and not particularly subtle. If she didn't want to do something, it simply was not going to happen. If she decided she was going to recover from falling down 14 stairs at 98 years old, that was locked in. And if she disagreed with one of your decisions, she would absolutely let you know with her signature, "Okay." She had a remarkable confidence that her way was probably the right way. That belief in her convictions and sheer mental toughness were only a few of the thousands of things that she taught me. She taught me piano, and she did not believe in easing me in. She taught me Frosty the Snowman before I had even learned all the keys. She taught me the difference between who and whom, and drilled it into me so thoroughly that Nico, who has a doctorate in linguistics, commented on my dedication to correcting others' grammar when we first started dating. She taught me that learning is something that you carry with you your whole life. I'll always remember sitting in her purple kitchen, eating breakfast while doing the crossword puzzle together in pen, a habit that I later inherited from her. We spent hours watching Jeopardy together, and she had very strict rules. The clue had to be fully read before anyone could answer out loud, and every answer had to be properly phrased in the form of a question. Those rules are ones I now enforce with anyone who watches Jeopardy with me, and even now when I watch alone, I always think, Grandma would have known that one. She also did Wordle every day for years.
Even on the day she fell down the stairs while we were sitting together in the emergency room, she did Wordle on her phone while I did it on mine. She got the word in 2 guesses. It took me 5. And we both started with the same word every day. And apparently one Wordle victory was not enough, because then she proceeded to list every single president in order, followed by Supreme Court justices, followed by state capitals, just to test herself. Her curiosity never retired. She loved challenging herself, and she loved using her mind. She also loved being generous, and practicing generosity was something she did every day. She donated to hundreds of charities over the years, so many that her mailbox was always overflowing with missives for more. But she was always also generous with her time and energy. Immediately after retiring from teaching, she started volunteering in my 1st grade classroom, sitting in the hallway with struggling readers to help them discover the joy of reading. She also took me to volunteer at Uptown Cafe, specifically because she wanted me to understand that everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. That was her gift. She made people feel seen. She did it with her students and with people we ran into at the grocery store. She did it with our family, and she did it with her granddaughter, who needed someone to teach her piano and to do crosswords and pen with her, and to play Wordle and Jeopardy, and to remind her that the world is always something worth being curious about. For years, I used to go to the grocery store with her and dread it because I was annoyed of being asked, "Do you know how amazing your grandma is?" I thought they were asking a question that I already knew the answer to. So I would roll my eyes and say, "Yep, she's pretty great." But if I'm honest, it took me more than a few years to really understand what they meant. But now I do. So yes, I know how amazing my grandma is. And I know how lucky I am to have been one of the many, many people whose lives she touched, or whose stories she remembered, and whose hearts she made feel a little bit more cared for. I'll miss her more than words can say, but I'll carry her with me every time I do a crossword in pen or watch Jeopardy, or when I instinctively say, "You met whom?" But most importantly, every time I remember that everyone deserves to feel seen.
In Judaism, we have the belief that the world is maintained in existence for the lives of 36 righteous individuals. It is clear today we're witnessing the loss of one of those 36 righteous individuals. The amount of lives we've heard that Shirley touched, exponentially spreading goodness, spreading the act of being seen and loved, for them to grow and to bring more children to the world, and for those children to grow up and bring more children to the world, shows the power of the tree of life, shows the power of the gift of love, of understanding, of caring, of placing that goodness into everyone who's blessed to have her as a teacher for her almost 3 decades of teaching. Being her rabbi for 14 years is an incredible gift, because she showed up as often as she could. Jeffrey Mahela would bring her, and she would show up. Friday night services, high holidays, and not that many people come to Friday night, but she would show up and want to be there and participate. And if you told her she should stay seated, that wasn't going to happen. She was going to stand no matter the effort it took, because it was important for her to stand when we stood and to sit when we sat. Like Sarah said, she showed up. She came. She was a beloved part of any community that she was part of. She loved her work with the Shoah Foundation, taking notes during the interviews and providing comfort by being the same age as many of the survivors. Lisa, you remembered Shirley asking you point blank at the apartment complex you were managing, "You're Jewish?" And when your cat needed to be taken to the vet, they made sure that your soon-to-be beloved Mike drove you and waited with you. They didn't want you to be alone in this sad moment, and made you come to dinner with them. Really, Shirley and Sherry never let you out of their lives, ever after that. Shirley cut a swath wherever she went. Her and Jerry were both inseparable, and yet loved going their own ways on individual adventures at times. Family was everything to her. You all were everything to her. In living, we all try to make the world a better place. Shirley succeeded. In life, we hope to raise children who remind us why we did it all, who bring more children into the world that are incredible and make the world a better place. You are all Shirley's legacy, the people she loved most in the world. May you always remember the best of Shirley in her strength and health, and may her memory always be a blessing as she was such a blessing in your lives. A poem I wrote a while ago fits Shirley quite well. Fight my fight. Dry your tears and pick up the mantle I've left you. Fight my fight for those in need and for those who never had a me to share their lives. Fight my fight by caring for the stranger, the sick, the silent, the victim, the child, the one who has no one else to come to their side and defend them from the world. Fight my fight because it is the right thing to do. Take my love for you and share it with the rest of humanity in hopes of creating a love so big that you find every person standing by your side as a defender of all that is good. May you fill the universe with the light I've always tried to share with each person I've known or loved. My hand may not be in yours, but know that my spirit lives in your heart, and my light can never be extinguished as long as memories of me give you the strength you need to fight my fight. We continue reading together in the pamphlet the words of the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me beside the still waters. You restore my soul. You guide me in straight paths for your name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We rise in body and spirit for El Malei Rachamim, our memorial prayer.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Mamromim, Amseh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Utahurim Kezohar Arakia, Mashirim, Et Nishmat Shifra Bat Menachem Mendel Velea, She'halecha le'olama. Baal harachamim, yastireha beseter kenefav yalamim, veitzror bitzror hachayim et nishmata. Adonai hu nachalata, v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava, v'nomar Amen.
Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Shirley Miller, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen.
Please be seated. The family will be having a meal at Blossom Cafe at 8349 West Lawrence Avenue in Norridge. Everyone here is invited to join the family after the service. Then they will receive Shiva calls, condolence calls, at the Miller residence at 1439 Sherwood Road in Highland Park on Sunday from the hours of 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. We will now begin with processing to the gravesite. Our procession is going to form directly in front of the mausoleum. Please go to your cars and wait for the funeral vehicles to move, and we'll ask you to follow behind. I was informed that Minion will be on 4:30 on Sunday. Anyone who would like to attend and be part of that. At this time, I'll ask for everyone to please rise and stand in place. I will ask for the pallbearers to come forward. Once the casket and the family have exited the chapel, we'll ask everyone to please go directly to your cars. You may use the stairs or the elevator.
I'm going to ask that you follow behind me so you get to the elevator.